everybody. It is Lori Mercer CTO, and I am really excited to launch a new project, a new program called How She Quits. And this really came from a place in my heart where I spent, almost 2 decades trying to quit, trying to escape my corporate job, and finally did it. I'm finally there. I've been there for a while, but I'll see, this is busy moms. It's
Sorry.
It's okay. This is how we roll. And I've been there for a while, but I didn't feel like, hey, it was time to talk about this yet, because I really wanted to be there, right? Like I really wanted to be the person that's like, and here's what worked and here's what didn't, and here we go. And so I'm excited to be interviewing a series of women who have also done this, who've been there, and who you can learn from the good and the bad and the ugly of this journey. So today we have, ta-da,
That's
Misha
me.
Yay! Misha is, well, she's all those things. Look at that adorable picture of her and her family. She is super, super talented in the copywriting space, but I'm just going to shut up for a second and let you introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Lori. And thank you for having me. This is something that's super close to my heart, because as you know, I've been through this journey too. And if I can even help, one person, if I can inspire one person to know that it's a safe leap to make, and that, okay, safe leap is kind of a misnomer. It's a rocky leap, but it's absolutely worth it. I'm just so happy to be here to be able to do that. So I'm Misha Hetty, as Lori said. My business is Uncommonly Good Biz. And in addition to being a mom and a wife and an owner of a Yorkie poo who may or may not bark while we're recording this, I am also a copywriter and a communications coach. So what is that? What does that mean? I help people write copy, like your website, your sales page, any sort of communication you need for your business. I can either write it or I can coach you to do it, because there's sometimes that we have to, like your email list, you don't always want to hire a professional copywriter to write every single email for you. So I coach people on how to do that quickly and effectively for themselves.
Awesome. I love to hear that. And so tell us about your journey from, like almost all of us, you were working a day job at some point, birthing children, maternity, yes, juggling all of that stuff. Like really, ladies, if you're in that spot, you're rock starring it right now. Like I want to make sure we're shouting out to you about that.
Oh yeah.
It's a very, very tough season to be a full-time working mom or even a part-time working mom. And, pregnant, postpartum, having young ones.
Oh my God. Yeah. The postpartum, that was the killer, man. That was one of the huge killers. So I started off, I worked for a home builder. I helped them do home decorating, and I had my first son when I worked there. And like you said, postpartum was so difficult. After the 6 weeks were up, and that was all I had. I didn't have, any extra from my employer. Man, that was probably one of the most gut-wrenching days of my life, right?
Yeah. I feel like we need an award for that. Like,
oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
Sort of a secret, anonymous, like, mom, first day back after having a baby. Like, it is that day and the first day of summer, right? When all the kids are home and you're going back to work. Like, those days are super, super emotional.
Right. I feel like there does need to be a mom medal on those days. I'm like, mom medal and maybe a bottle of champagne. Like, you did it, girl. You made it through. So after that, I moved to managing my own design showroom, and I had another baby, and it was hard because my second kiddo had colic. He had, all the earaches, all the ear infections that you could ever hope to have with a kid. And it got to the point where I took so many sick days for him that at one point I myself had pneumonia, and the doctor was like, we need to admit you to the hospital. And I was like, you don't understand. I'm going to lose my job. So I took my breathing machine into my office because what are you going to do? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was corporate, and it was killer. It was that drive to work every morning, thinking that 45-minute commute, thinking about, I just dropped my babies off and I want to cry. I hate this drive. I loved my job, but all those other aspects of it were like, it was like a knife in the heart every morning.
That's great.
Yeah. So what led me to quit actually is I got really lucky and I got they shut my department down.
I mean, it's funny to say really lucky because the truth is, the one regret I have is that I didn't quit sooner. And you
Yeah.
almost have to have a little kick in the tail to really, sometimes take that leap and make that bold move. So yeah,
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
it's okay if that's what
I
it takes, right?
it absolutely took that. I don't know if I could have done it otherwise just because I was nervous, and that was like I was pregnant with my third child when that happened. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? It's like in Gone with the Wind. My boss said, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Um, so yeah, visibly like 5 months pregnant, no job, no, like when you're interviewing for jobs and you've got this huge pregnant belly, no one wants you. So I took a couple of months and I had been studying photography for a couple of years, right? But I didn't want to be like every other mommy out there who got a DSLR and started charging $50. I wanted to build my business, right? So I took that time from the time I was laid off in February until I want to say, no, I'm sorry. I was laid off in September and I built my website. I'm not kidding you, Lori. I bought the URL when I was in labor in the hospital. Yeah. I was like, this is it. This is my time. And I built that website and I took my first client a couple of months after that, I gave myself that time to have postpartum and, yeah.
I'm surprised that you haven't blogged about that or used that as a headline, right? Like I bought
Right.
a domain while I was in labor and then have
Yes.
clever, like it could be some really clever domain, right? Like
I should have. Yeah. That would be a good story. No, I'm in the hospital. I got my epidural. I had my laptop there and I was like, this is it. We're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great topic because, I have 4 kids and I had them all while I was working corporate and the first came 10 weeks early. Right.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was so not prepared because I was just like, like get stuff done. Everything was in order. It was not time for that baby to be there yet. I was even like in denial, like, did my water break? That can't be my water. It's not time for my water to break. I didn't know, like, hadn't even read that chapter in the pregnancy book yet. I took my purse and my laptop to the hospital thinking they're going to fix it and send me home. And I told my boss, I'll be back tomorrow. So, I mean, the things that we're doing to juggle it all,
Oh, yeah.
just
Yes.
crazy.
With my first son, same thing. I had toured a granite yard in the morning with a client. I got a sunburn when I was there. And I've always had like kind of tricky kidneys. So it triggered me to have a kidney infection. And they're like, you have to have this baby today. And I was like, what? No,
That's not the plan.
I can't do that. So there's pictures of me holding my newborn with my phone in my hand, like working. It's ridiculous.
So this is really at the heart of like why we want women to be where we are now, because we work hard. You and I both work very hard at our businesses, but we're able to say, these are my boundaries. These are my constraints. These are the clients I want. These are the clients I don't want. This is the work I'm going to do. This is the work I'm not going to do, and make it fit around our family. And say, no, I'm taking a month off in the summer, and you plan your business around it, right? Because you can.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah. So this is where we want everybody to be. Okay. These are all such good stories. I'm already like off track because I just love talking about this.
Sorry.
Subject.
Yeah, no, everyone has, what's funny is I know that everyone listening will at least, part of this will resonate with them and they'll be like, oh my God, they do know they have been where we are. Cause we absolutely have.
For sure. For sure. I just got goosebumps when you said that. So I know it's just so spot on. So I like to talk about the numbers because one of the things I was missing when I was like experiencing all that emotional, like, I love my job, it's a good job, but I got 4 kids. And, even if I just had one kid at home, it was just, it's such a pull back and forth. And I knew there was a better way. And I knew there was things I could learn, but I felt like the facts weren't out there. Like, well, is this a good business or not? How long is it really going to take? Am I doing the right things to get there? So some tangible questions for you. How long was it before you earned your first dollar in your business? Or, you know, maybe how long was it to your first client? Like, it, you know, what did that stretch look like?
Because I was laid off in September. It was September 7th, a day that shall go down in infamy. I'll never forget that, right? That was my anniversary of never working a day job again. I was laid off in September, but like I said, it was super duper pregnant. At that point, I hadn't really come around to the idea. So I was like, I was applying for jobs, going out to interviews with my giant belly. And so I didn't really decide yet at that point. The point that I decided though was, like I said, the day that I was in labor, and I was like, you know what? No, we're doing this. I'm doing this. No one wants me, and I don't want that anyways. So let's do it. So from February 21st, again, the day that I bought my first URL, my first domain name, to the time that I got my first client was probably 45 days, maybe. I was, like I said, I was very focused on doing it right. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to just do it quickly. I know that's kind of like 45 days. That's a long time to not get paid. But again, I was postpartum anyway. So
actually, I think that's super fast. I mean, and to do it while you're postpartum, right? Like that is just, I mean, I can relate to that because there was a season when I was in my corporate job and I was working on a direct sales company, and you and I could have a whole other podcast about the right and wrong ways to set expectations for entering direct sales companies. But I crushed it. I was pregnant with my fourth child. I was working full time, and I sailed to director in 9 months. In those conditions, you know, it was like I was pregnant and then I had her and I was in maternity leave through all of that. So I think if you're out there and you are pregnant and you are in those seasons, sometimes those patterns give you a different perspective and a different way to look at things, right? Like your hours are different. You're in the middle of the night, you got things to think about in the middle of the night, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Those 3 a.m. power hours, man. Feed the baby, write your tweets for the next week.
Why not? Why not? It's coming to your mind while you're up. So, okay. So that's actually, I think 45 days is not bad at all, especially considering all those circumstances. That's really
at the time it felt like a long time. My husband was like, are you really doing this? And I'm like, I really am, but I'm doing it right. I don't want to go out and, you know, make $40 because I can't afford, you know, that's not sustainable.
Yeah. And that is actually one of my key principles. And like I said, the question I kept having all the way through is, there was lots of ways to make money. They're in front of your face every single day. Every time, you know, you Google search, you go on social media, but what is the right way? Like, what's a way that's going to be sustainable, that you can count on, that matches your talents and gifts, that you're going to enjoy doing, and that you're not just chasing money, because, you know, chasing money is never the answer. But my husband likes to say, money follows excellence. So if you go do what you're good at and you're excellent at it, the money will come at some point. But then, you know, I balance him with my little analytical brain and say, but you have to have the right business model. So,
oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. Money follows excellence, but you have to set yourself up right. Or if you don't, you know, just like our 5th grade teacher told us, if you don't prepare to succeed, plan to go ahead and fail, right?
That's right. That is totally right. That is totally right. Okay. So let's talk about this. While you were in this season, building your business, and you know what? It comes after too, right? Like you don't just like, boom, get your first client and then like, all right, I'm in business. You know, it's a little while as you're building up your leads and your client list. What did you find is the most valuable resources in that phase when you were building your business?
So I went to a lot of conventions because I knew I had to get out there and meet people. You have to be in the right room, right? So I went to a lot of, my first whack at this particular pinata was photography. So I went to photography conventions and I learned from the greats. I was like, you know what? I've spent so much time practicing my craft and learning my craft because I had taken photography classes before I ever got laid off, that I'm literally only going to focus on the business aspect of this. That's what I need to ramp up. And so going to conventions was huge for me. And then I heard about a program called B School. I know you're a fan of B School too. You are a B School grad as well. And talk about being in the right room. B-School is not cheap, but it was a total game changer for me because the B-School community was invaluable. I can't even say enough about it. Just being around the right people, learning from people who were successful and who were doing what I wanted to do. It's so much more powerful. Like when you're in your corporate life and you are stuck around people who are like, oh, well, this sucks and my commute sucks and this job sucks and I don't want to go to that meeting because it sucks. It's like crabs in a bucket and they're pulling you down. So anything that you're trying to build there, it's really, really difficult. But when you get a mindset shift and you wind up in the right room with people who are doing the darn thing, like that was one of the most powerful resources for me.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, I did B-School while I was still in corporate. It was a big expense and it was scary to take that step. It was totally a game changer for me as well. One of the differences about B-School, right, than some of the other programs you see floating around out there is that Marie Forleo, really gets into what is a good business model and what isn't. And right from the beginning, she shot down 3 of my business ideas.
Wow.
Not personally, but like in her videos and her programs, right? Like as I was going through them, and really brought me clarity because I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought that was going to be my path, but that's totally not going to be my path. And she's right. She's smart. She's been there. She's looked at all these businesses. So it brought instant clarity to me. And it felt different from the beginning because she looks at, what's the foundation of your business and then builds in all the marketing layers and all the techniques that you need to do. So, and the community, right? Like,
yes. The community is worth every penny. Even if you didn't get any of the training, which you need to do the training, don't just chicken out on the modules, but the community itself is like so priceless. When I started doing B-School, I had just moved from Texas to California. And when you have a photography business or a local business and you move, you got to start over from scratch. So I was banging my head against the wall, trying to rebuild my client base. And then I took the B-School thing. And like you said, I was like, you know what, this isn't sustainable. What happens if I move again? I gotta restart. And I move a lot. So that's not nothing to me. But like you said, those modules on, build the business that you want to support the life that you desire.
Yes.
And that's what led me to, actually, that's what led me to copywriting. That was a total aha moment for me, Lori.
Because I remember that we were both in B-School at the same time, but we didn't know each other then, right? Like
right.
I might vaguely be like, oh, that girl with purple hair. Yeah. Okay. So you fly by my feed. Right. But part of the work, and we're going to talk about this with the copy too, right? Is having a good about page and being really clear. And part of the program is, what do you need on the front page of your website that's clear and actionable and tells people clearly what you do. So I do remember you telling me about all the about page work you did as a result of that. So that's you.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how I got to be like so darn good at about pages, but I took what I learned in B-School and translated it to writing about pages for photographers because I knew a ton of them. And that's kind of how I built my business. That was this unintentional pivot that got me where I am today. And I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you can make 6 figures in a month, because I don't believe, maybe some people can, but not everybody can. But I am that small pivot and building the business the way that I want to live. I really am making a full-time income working part-time from home.
Yes, absolutely.
Who doesn't want that?
It's about the life, right? The business and the life. So you don't have to listen to those messages that, well, you got to hustle all the time. Like, what? I'm going to trade my hectic corporate job for even more hecticness. No, it doesn't have to be that way. But what you just, I want a business lesson time out for a second. I'll have to add these into my podcast. What you just said was brilliant, because a lot of women are thinking like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to leave corporate? Like, what skills am I going to use? And my advice always is to, take a talent you already have. So maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're a technical writer, maybe you're a marketing professional, someone techie like me, graphic design. Did I say accounting already? Customer service. I mean, there's a lot of professions, legal. And start broad because you don't quite know. And then you start narrowing in like you did. I mean, there's tons of copywriters out there. So why would somebody pick you? Well, you've narrowed into a specialty, about pages, photography, and you're going to be like ace for somebody who needs specifically that. And as you're building your own business, it's way easier to target and find clients who are within a very narrow specialty like that than it is to just cast your net broad and say, I copyright. Well,
Yes.
what do you write the 5 words that show up on the Starbucks promo postcard that shows up, because that's a copywriter too.
Yeah.
And actually I'm going to interview the girl who used to write that.
How funny.
Yeah. You know, or do you, oh, I changed my screen. Well, we can leave it there.
Yeah.
Or do you, you know, I mean, it's just very, very broad. Like copywriting is very broad. Email autoresponders. I'm a ghostwriter for a speaker. So really start broad and then figure out, you know, what's your love, what's your specialty, and get really good at a specialty and really embed yourself in that niche. Because if you become a specialist in that niche, everybody's going to go, oh, that's the girl. Oh, that's the girl. And then you never have to market, right? Because it just becomes referral business.
Yes. Start with your talent, start with your basic idea, and then absolutely niche it down, and then carve it out for you, just you. I don't serve just that niche anymore, but absolutely, it made it so easy to, you know, people would refer me. I didn't have to market that service. You know what? I did have a newsletter, and on the side of it, I had a little clickable link that said profile confetti. And that was how you, like, terrible marketing at the time. 'Cause like, that doesn't say what it is, and that doesn't say who it's for or anything. But somehow I still got business writing about pages for photographers, because people would say, oh, Misha wrote my page, you should check it out.
That's right.
So,
that's right. And honestly, that's how my business has grown as well, because, you know, I'm diving into email autoresponders and all those techie things that take your marketing and glue it into your WordPress and Entrepreneur, whatever it is. And that's very specialized. It's very specialized. Now, the flip side of that is that you want to pick a specialty that has longevity and isn't going to like go away next week, like Pokemon Go, or I don't know, something, you know, something fatty. But all right, no, this is really good stuff. So now that we're on the copy talk, there's women listening to this who are in this place, building their own businesses. Maybe they've already built it and they're trying to make it that sustainable and scalable. And what short piece of advice would you give them? Like, what's the most juicy place we should be putting our copy thoughts into? You know, what piece of copy, what kind of wording, how do we go about that? I'll just throw that big broad question out at you.
Absolutely. So a lot of people have a hard time when it comes time to write. Like, they sit down and they see that blinking cursor and they're like freaking out. Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't even know. And you want to focus on, let's say you're writing your site. We'll talk specifically about the site right now. You want to, on your homepage, you have to think about the purpose of each page and think about what the visitor wants from it. If you're going to write a whole ton of information on the homepage, you're going to lose them. They're going to be like, TLDR, this is too much. So your homepage, just go ahead and make it, this is my house. Here I am, you know, click here to learn more. And then take them on a journey to do what you want to do. So you definitely want to use your copy, your words, to direct them to your ultimate goal. And then the other thing that I always tell people is speak plainly. Speak plainly. Write like you speak. When you go to those websites and they're in that, it's really hard for people who are just out of corporate. Like, I know it's hard, because you're like, oh, I want to write about metrics, and I want to write, you know, like all those corporate words, but it's a turnoff, because that's not really how we talk, right?
Yeah.
So speak plainly.
Should we pull up an example and pick on somebody? Is that fair? Well, what's a really good one? Like, do you want to go to your website? And
my website speaks pretty darn plainly.
It does. It does. uncommongoodbiz.com.
Yes. Welcome, you've come to the right place. Look good, sound great, make money. That's my tagline. I want to help you literally do just that. It doesn't need to say anything. Corporate taglines are kind of difficult. Like, I just want to help you sound great so you can make money. And if you scroll down, there's even, it's very your message, but better. And it's geared towards the visitor. It tells you what I do. So I don't know. I'm pretty in love with my website. I'll probably change it soon again, because we always do. But, and like I said, that is a very good example. So awesome. I literally can't even, that's how I talk. If you get me on the phone, if I wrote in total corporate speak and then you got me on the phone and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot even, you'd be like, who is this nut? Right? So write like you speak.
And so you have to write like you speak. And so this kind of gets into, this wasn't on the question list, but you're making me go there with my thoughts. So being authentic to who you are. So how often were you sitting in corporate? At least I'll speak for myself. I was sitting in corporate and feeling a bit like a fraud, right? Because first of all, I was the only female sitting around a table of a dozen men usually. And to work in that environment, right, you have to take on some masculine tendencies. Like I had to mask some of my femininity. You know, I couldn't talk about my kids as much. So, you know, you have to play a role to play the game in that corporate world. And it does take a little while to kind of break the shell off of that and be like, oh, when your authentic you matches to your business mission and your business work and your clients, then it just feels so natural and it all, you know, jives together. So the speak like you makes sense. Now, the only caution I will say is that you have to match the clients that you want to attract. But if you don't want to work with stuffy financial executives, then don't try to attract stuffy financial executives, right?
Totally, 100%. I want to work with people like you, people who are serious about their business, but they're not fake and there's no facade. And that's why they're like the line for me between social and business is very blurry to the point where there might not even be a line, because I'm more interested in getting to know you as a person and helping you succeed. Now, if you're like a dude in a suit, this purple donut situation, that's going to turn you right off. That's intentional.
That's right. That's right. And I definitely am in a place where I'm still exploring my brand. So Misha makes this look so easy, but I will tell you that I have been working on the How She Quits branding, copy, languaging for quite a while because two things. I don't want to look like a scammy internet marketer because there's so many scammy internet marketers out there who are saying this, but right? The make money, but look how classy what you say is. And it fits and it works. And so it's very, you know, to come up with something simple is very hard sometimes in the copy space, but that doesn't mean don't try, right? Like this is totally achievable. And I want people to know that in that whole setting expectations thing, you're not going to come up with this overnight. Your website's going to look like 17 variations.
Yeah. Okay. So to be perfectly honest, this is my third iteration. My first iteration, oh my God, that URL that I bought when I was literally giving birth was rockcandystudiosonline.com. What? Like what? And then I went through a phase with Hello Misha, which was my second brand that I tried on. I mean, it's my name and it was pretty cool, but I hired a web designer and it was beautiful, but didn't quite fit. So one day I was like, I'm going to tear this all down and build it again. I will literally burn things to the ground and build them again to make sure that they feel right. And you know what? You don't have to do that. I will tell you one thing that you can do to make your life a lot easier. When you're starting out, if you have some money to invest, you don't always have to DIY it. You can write as much as you can and then get a killer editor, someone who's going to talk to you and listen to your voice and listen to your word choices and your speaking cadences. And then they can work with you to give you this kind of thing right out the gate. Other than that, yes, expect you're going to have a few iterations before you get comfortable.
And I think the thing behind all this, and so this is maybe a good transition. So our freebie that we have out on the website at howshequits.com is a step-by-step guide, 3 steps to running a profitable business from home, right? The sustainable, the scalable, that fits you authentically, that shortcuts you from all the mistakes that Misha and I made when we were going down this path. The first step is figuring out your business model. And there I am using corporate words, but to back that up, like what business are you going to run? And you need to get clarity about what business you're going to run, meaning what service you're giving and what are you going to charge for it to what types of clients. And
Yes.
once you have that, it's easy to outsource to a copywriter. If it feels like it's hard to outsource to a copywriter right now, it's probably because you don't quite have clarity yet on who am I talking to and what am I trying to tell them.
You really, yeah, the foundation, once the foundation is set, everything is easier. But if you don't set your foundation, you're going to spend a crap ton of money trying on different hats and different ideas. So I don't know if you have a profitability plan or anything in your program that's upcoming, but that was key. Finding out my ideal client, that was, oh my gosh, so important. So again, started in the photography space, right? Before I really had it dialed in, I photographed a dog show. I photographed like just anything for anyone. And then babies, I mean, I love my kids, but I'm not good at photographing babies.
Yeah.
And it took all those, because I didn't think about who I wanted to serve. I didn't understand that aspect of the magic of making business feel wonderful. So even though I had my profitability plan dialed in, I didn't know who I wanted to serve. And that's why I was like having a tough time that first year.
Absolutely. Well, if somebody's listening to this in the January, February months, B School has all those components, and it's definitely the program that I will be promoting and holding your hand through, because I'm lucky enough to be a B School affiliate. I don't think I said that before. I thought it, but I needed to say it. And so we will be having a group of women like yourself, likely, who's listening to this, going through B School together and getting that foundation in place. And then our ongoing How She Quits community is, well, let's transition into the last thing you and I talked about. I mean, it really felt like I was on an island most of the time that I was doing this, and you already mentioned how amazing the B School community was. And so my last question is, what do you wish someone would have told you while you were in the stage of building up your business and you know, in that season?
Oh man. First of all, there's two things. First of all, start before you're ready. I spent many, many months, as I just detailed for you, many, many months thinking, because I wanted to do it right. If you just start before you're ready, you get to go ahead and make those mistakes real fast and get, you know, profitable and fantastic even sooner. If you spend a lot of time thinking and not doing, I'm going to quote Marie, because I love me some Marie Forleo. Clarity comes from action, not thought. So just start before you're ready. That's another Marie quote. And the other thing I cannot stress enough is to talk to the right people. When you're starting your business and you have a question and you're just not sure, don't ask your husband. Don't ask your mom. Don't ask your BFF, because they don't know.
Yeah. Do a lot of people ask you, like, well, what exactly is that business you're running now? I mean, I get that question a lot. I think when you have a big internet presence and you're offering services like the copywriting, the web design, you know, the email autoresponder, a lot of people don't understand this industry. And there's a lot of different types of industries, right? If you want to start a franchise, talk to people who know about franchises. If you want to start a law firm, you got to talk to somebody that knows how to start a law firm. So if you want to run a business that you do from your home, that's with your professional services, you've got to get in that network of people who are doing that. And still, you know, the soccer moms and the neighbors are going to look at you cross-eyed, like, you're home all day in your yoga pants. Like right now I'm wearing my favorite slippers. I wear them every day. And
I'm fully dressed, but I have a poodle, a dog on my lap. So not so professional. Yeah. You know, what's so funny about the soccer moms? Like I talk to the other moms when I drop my kids off at school and I pick my kids up and I go to the PTA meetings and we have art school or art whatever tonight. And I do talk to them. I remain social, but they don't understand what I'm going through. And they don't understand, like, we can't go out to lunch and have a conversation that will serve us both. You know what I mean? So if you've got a local friend who's an entrepreneur, absolutely fortify that relationship. Every time, you know, Aaron Chase, our mutual friend, Aaron Chase, every time Aaron and I go out to lunch, we're both like, oh my God, that was a breath of fresh air. It's so nice to talk to someone who understands. So
Totally.
make friends with the right people, nourish those relationships. And I mean, don't take advantage of those relationships, but if you nourish the relationship will nourish your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. That's great, great advice. Um, let's see. Have we covered everything? Have you tell me, have we covered it? What have we left out that you would like to share with our audience?
Oh man. So I could go on about this topic forever. That's the problem. And especially with you, because you're so easy to talk to. What else? What else? What else?
Let's leave it with like one juicy nugget. So, um, you know, somebody who's listened all the way through, right? We're like 40 minutes in now, and
God
yay,
bless you for listening this long.
yeah, because we know what you're doing. You're busy. You're
Yeah.
busy. You know, you're working, mom. You're probably working a side business at the same time. You know, you've got kids, and I bet you're listening to this if you're like me in the shower, on your commute, while you're going for a jog. If you're lucky enough to get a workout in that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, a lot of times over the weekends, like if I'm driving my kids to and from sports, this is maybe not safe, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'll have an earbud in and I'll be listening.
Yeah.
They got their music in the car and I'll be listening to a podcast. So I
Yeah.
know
When I'm making dinner, I have my headphones in and my phone in my back pocket so I can cook and listen.
yeah,
Yeah.
dinner, that's another great time. So what's the last most important thing we could leave them with? Like if they're going to take one step aside from go download our guide, right? And
Yes, it's a guide.
howtoquit.com.
No joke.
Like what's your last juicy piece of advice for them?
I don't want to leave you with some rah nonsense. I don't want to fill you up and be like, oh girl, you can make 6 months inside of 2 weeks, because that's not logical, and I don't believe it. But I do believe that for every single person who wants out, there is a space. And if you are in your zone of genius, okay, so like you said, putting on this facade of being fake and corporate and all this stuff, I cannot tell you, my hair is purple. I don't know, you can tell it's purple, right? I have never been so free and so relaxed and so myself and so centered and present. And I know these are a lot of words that people are like, whatever, but I legitimately mean it. I can be myself. I can bring, okay. I'm so sorry, because I know we're supposed to be ending this. Yesterday, my husband, who is transitioning from a 9 to 5 to his own doing exactly what we're talking about here. He said, you know what? I have to do this because every day that I go to work, I am not my best self. And I know that. I'm not giving my best self to my family. I'm not giving my best self to you. I have to make this work. And I'm standing on the other side. Lori's standing on the other side, and we're here with open arms, and we want to tell you, yes, you can do it, and yes, you can be your best self.
That's so good. That is so good. And even once you get to this side, right, and you start to feel some stress and some ick in your business, you just change it because it's yours.
Absolutely. And there's no fear involved with, I mean, there is some fear, but if I say a curse word in an email, who's going to fire me? You know, or if I run a promotion and it falls flat, is my bonus going to go down? Well, kind of, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just run another promotion. I'll just zag. And I guess the other thing about that is, when you find your tribe, people like Lori are there to help you find your best self. So when you feel that ick in your business, look for people like Lori, and they will help you find your way.
That is so kind of you to say. Thank you. Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, we could go on, but maybe we'll just have to have a round 2 at some point.
Oh, we're going to talk about MLM in round 2, girl.
That's right.
Yep.
We have to. Love all you MLMers. Here, we have to, now we can't like leave that.
No, we're not dissing MLM. MLM is hard as hustle there possibly can be, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And
that's right.
We would love to help you.
The truth, the whole truth is not being told about MLM and direct sales. And we've both been there, done that, and have chosen what we think is a better, faster, more secure and stable path to more money and a better schedule, right?
Yeah, absolutely. More freedom.
Yep. You learn a ton in it though, right? Like we both had those
Oh,
seasons and
yeah.
we learned from it. So learn from right where you are.
Absolutely. Every setback is, you either win or you learn.
That's right. Oh, okay. We better wrap this up because,
Sorry.
somebody's
Yes.
just are going like, I gotta jog another mile or I gotta drive around the block and hear the end of this.
Yes. Sorry, ladies. Thank you for taking your time and listening to us. We're so excited to see you on the other side.
Absolutely. I'm cheering you on. Okay. HowSheQuits.com for the free report. And thank you, Misha.
Thank you for having me, Lori. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye.